Yes, it's time to take a look at stories making the headlines in Nigerian newspapers. And joining me in the studio is public affairs commentator Oladeinde Ariyo, as well as public affairs analyst Sijibomi Adebiyi-Benet. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast. All right, we head straight to the papers now, and I begin with the Daily Times. Uproar over Buhari's restructuring stance. You find that story on the front page of the Daily Times. And now we'll move to the front page of the blueprint. Buhari begs Nigerians be patient on camera act, water bill, others. NAS ready to be rubber stamp for good governance. Lawan Gbajabiamila suggests way out of legislature executive row. All right, to the front page of the Business Day. Delays for test results may cease as kits help detect COVID-19 in 40 minutes. Right, we find a story on the front page of the Business Day. To the Daily Trust now. Teachers get new salary scale houses. Retirement age now 65, service years 40. Bursary award, automatic jobs for education students. TED fund to fund teaching practice in universities. COEs will want approval backed by law. NUT. Yesterday was Teachers' Day, and the president increased their salary scale. All right, let's quickly move now to the national economy. Special Public Works. Federal government appoints Zenith Bank, 5 others as bankers for 774,000 beneficiaries. President Muhammadu Buhari working out further palliatives for Nigerians. Oshibaju. And on the front page of the Leadership newspaper, World Teachers' Day, stakeholders hail President Muhammadu Buhari over salary increment, retirement age extension. Governors pledge support for teachers. PDP tasks federal government, states on better welfare. NANS threatens showdown with federal government as to others over strike. And finally, on the front page of the news direct now, Buhari approves 10 billion naira for census as MPS begins 10th phase of area demarcation. All right, gentlemen, I am certain that you will be interested on the story on the front page of the Daily Times talking about the restructuring stance. The president's stance on restructuring. There has been uproar in recent times of various groups in the society reacting to talking about if there is no restructuring, how the country could break up if with the way we are going if there is no restructuring. And recently it was the GO of the Redeemed Christian Church, Pastor Enoch Adeboye, who came out to speak. And then the presidency is reacting, saying that the president will not be forced to restructure Nigerians. But let's get your reaction to the statement by the president. He has always had this notion since 2015 when it comes to restructuring. But let's get your reaction. I'll start with you, Oladeinde Ariyo.
Oh, okay. The thinking within the presidency is faulty.
Really?
Because, yeah, we elected the president. He didn't appoint himself over us. To that extent, he needs to listen to the yearnings and aspirations of the people. Okay? He's first among equal. It's an equal joint stakeholder with all of us. We are all at par. From
what the presidency is saying, it says that not all Nigerians are calling for restructuring. He said he is going to tilt to the yearnings of 200 million Nigerians.
Who did the census and took the demography? Who measured? Okay? What metrics were they, what did they deploy? You see, this is not a military government, it's a civilian government. Okay? And then we always have notable leaders. Either they became leaders through culture, religion, or public life. So when they speak, you will respect any government to listen to them. But Adeboye is not a flippant speaker. Right. He doesn't talk anyhow. He speaks in measured circumstances. For him to have come out to say this, especially when the vice president is a personal, let me say, a friend, member of his church, and a top-ranking member. should show a discerning listener the seriousness he attached to it. First, it was President Obasanjo that spoke. He was badly insulted.
Right.
And the question is this: have we lost the right to offer counsel or to express our opinion about governance of Nigeria? No, it's not right. Things are not working on several fronts. So why don't we look at restructuring? Perhaps we need to define that word, restructuring.
Because it seems it means different things to different zones.
And the understanding is making them feel, making them to worry and go shaking. Something is cutting up the country. Others think otherwise. But what we are saying is we are asking for systemic rearrangement. And that should be it. We need to. We can't continue this way.
All right. Sijibomi, the presidency is saying they will not succumb to pressure. Are we coming to the point of saying we are pressuring the president with the statements coming from different directions? Is it a pressure or Nigerians just expressing their views? And like he mentioned, counsel to the government to perhaps take a look at what Nigerians might be interested in.
I'm an advocate and I subscribe to restructuring. But at the same time, I think we're not doing enough to carry everybody around in terms of the term restructuring. It is only one zone, a group from the zone called the North that has really come out to say they want to they will back restructuring, which is these North Central.
Right.
I've forgotten their own acronym, just like PANDEF, just like the North.
But oftentimes they are not
body.
seen as Northerners.
They have said they are not Northerners.
So that's the only zone that has really come out to support. So as it is today, the majority should carry the vote. So we have 4 zones advocating for it, while either silently or very, very outspokenly, then another 2 zones very silent on it. Now, what we're supposed to do and what the president is supposed to do is to tell us his own definition of restructuring and toe that line. Is it federalism? Is it more devolution of powers to the state? Let's start from somewhere. I respect him for something, realistically. It's the fact that he's not like other leaders that we've had.
In what
sense? The other
sense?
leaders, what they normally used to do is very close to time when there is agitation. They set up a committee, be it a 2014 something, even Obasanjo during his time, never listened to anybody that advocated for restructuring. Even after, never allowed, and was suppressing those agitations. So, so
invariably he doesn't have a moral stance to call for it. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. So I'm not even going to. I'm not towing that line now. What I'm saying is, he is very rigid and he expresses his own what's it called? His own mindset, opinion to the people, without having to you know,
make amends or just
play them
to accommodate
in that way. So maybe that is a fault for his politics, because other people, it doesn't cost him anything, for example, to just set up something and say in the next 3 years we will lay a committee, a foundation upon foundation, then they pass the buck to the next, to the successive government. That's what everybody has been doing. A 2014 report came out.
So the parliamentary process that the president is saying is something you perhaps agreeing with, because what the president is saying that he will work with patriotic Nigerians using a parliamentary process to perhaps look at the constitution and see what can be done.
He doesn't have a choice now. Let me tell you why he doesn't have a choice.
All right.
The restructuring is not coming from perceived opposition figures anymore. It's coming from let me say, religious leaders that have been known to be very, very upright and very careful with utterances. Then, before long, you will see economic leaders joining. Because I think that's the only path for development for this country, especially when you have it face by face. Start with devolution of powers to the state. Let the state harness their own resources themselves and pay something to the center. I think that will start a revolution in terms of economic prosperity. So with that, then what we have with power, we can do something about that. Decentralized power as well. When we have power, when we have all those things.
Let's quickly get Oladeinde Ariyo's perspective with regards to the parliamentary process to address issues. Would that get us anywhere?
It's never going to. In the last 20 years or thereabout, we've had several constitutional review processes.
Right.
And they all turned out to be huge jamborees and bazaars. You see so much money being wasted without any positive impact, okay, or result that we can say we've gotten value for money. So for him to now be towing, the same part, is simply saying, you want me to do something, Abi? Okay, and it's pretentious.
Is it?
Because nothing will come out of it.
Really?
No, nothing will come out of it. It will have been taking an executive initiative, specific, right? In all the people who are saying restructure, invite them to a roundtable.
Okay.
Ask them to submit a memorandum, okay? Outlining what they meant, defining and explaining what they want. And then let your eggheads look at them critically, come up with specifics, and be deliberate now.
That's what democracy is about, isn't
Exactly. It's not something anybody can say, I'm governor, I'm president. No. Without a kingdom, there is no king.
Right.
If there's no Nigeria, there's no presidency. So they must get that clear. We are the country. We are the people. They are managing us. They are managing our lives and our resources.
To think the Constitution says we the people of Nigeria.
Exactly. He didn't say me, Mr. President. No, he said we the people of Nigeria. So in all of the equations, we are important. We should be given the pride of place, not relegated to the background as if we are not important. We are important. And then again, they should stop this idea of being reactive. The moment you express an opinion that is not in tandem with the government, you are seen as an enemy, and then you are insulted, you are abused. It's not right. It's uncalled for. I mean, it's not the way to go. Before we can even grow, as you said, or develop, we must create a sane environment. The environment now is not any sane. Go out there now, end SARS riot is going on everywhere. They are protesting. How will SARS, that was a child of circumstance, that came up, then started rubbishing the entire police organization? So much that it is now the contending issue we are battling with.
Now the issue is homegrown constitution. That is what a lot of Nigerians, those who are calling for restructuring, are asking for. Homegrown constitution, what should it look like, or what can it look like that will carry perhaps everyone along, Sijibomi?
Yeah, the homegrown constitution is, I think, is reminiscent or look like what my brother and uncle has just described. Everybody has to have a stake. So the constitution we're operating today was given to us by the military.
Absolutely.
And when we talk about all these things, I think so many people hide under the president or the presidential mistake to not to state their minds. What are the governors also doing? They can put a lot of pressure on the president.
They are not pushing for all of this.
That is what I'm saying. The problem, you see, the governors are a very powerful fold in the country. Yeah. A very powerful group. And you can see from what they wanted in recent times, just APC governors, what they wanted, the made sure they got, and the president did not have a choice. Now, what are they doing from NGF to the Progressive Forum to the PDP Forum? How are they synergizing, harmonizing their positions to make sure that we communicate this, that this is what our people want to the president? Take him on. That is what we want to see. So that even the assembly, the National Assembly, will not have a choice than to toe that part. Because we know that anything they want, they will get.
Do they know they wield that influence? Do they know that it is time now to be thinking outside of the box, like the vice president once said? Do they realize that perhaps when we begin to look at this, when we see what the situation is economically, and we see how other countries are trying to find solutions, think outside the box, when you look at our governors, are they really towing that path? Because some Nigerians believe that when you come to talk about resource control, they don't seem to be interested. They are not looking into that.
You remember on Independence Day,
Right.
our conclusion was that we need results, but to achieve the result, we need the resolve to challenge the system.
Absolutely.
Now, perhaps they do not know, because almost all the time now, the focus is on Abuja, whereas you have governors, you have council chairmen, you have councillors, you have a House of Assembly in each of the states. When you benchmark the amount of resources that go into keeping them running, as against what values they have added to governance, they are not at par. So, as this talk of increased and deliberate enlightenment, perhaps they don't know their roles. The same way we told legislators who were offering people palliative, they are giving them, what do you call it now, consultancy projects. It's not their business. So we've messed up a lot of things. In the process of restructuring, a lot of them will be corrected. A lot of education will be offered. People will be, their mindset will be reprogrammed. And everybody will begin to get the games right, including the presidency. They should stop seeing Nigeria as a conquered territory, that whatever we want, you must take it. No. We voted you guys in there to do things for us, make our lives better. And when it's not going the way we want, we owe you you would
recall the president's message, the 60th anniversary, October the 1st, talking about togetherness and how Nigerians need to work together.
What signals are we getting from there?
Right, it's
that
very
will
important
help to keep us together. The signals coming from there are very divisive. Okay?
Really?
Oh, I must say that. Unfortunately, we may not have time to go into details, but I can tell you, several sectors of the country, they are not happy. They keep talking of being marginalized, and they have examples to go with. There's an appointment recently where it was killed in favor of a section. A whole section has 15%, the other has 85%. It's not done. They've been saying that some agencies are being headed by people from the north as against southerners. They should look at all of these things. We don't have to trample on people's and then ignore their feelings, except if they are flippant. But when these things are true, give it a thought, look at it, and then change the mix. Because if anything should go wrong, we will not be stranded. We have no other country anywhere in the world to call our own.
Perhaps this is why, Sijibomi, people are saying that the issues that led to the civil war, the issues, the agitations that we saw led to the civil war at the time are still very much with us, and we are seemingly not being deliberate at addressing it.
Yeah. Yes, and as a student of history, I think those issues are still there. The only leverage we have this time around is the fact that it is not a military government whereby you have rebellion. This time around is a democracy whereby even from those parts of the country where there is apparent marginalization, you have conspirators and even collaborators from that part. So you have to look at all this, but we must have one mind. That's why I have addressed and talked about the NGF, because that's a powerful block. Then, because you can see that the very fierce voices of restructuring are from not politicians.
Right.
They are not from people benefiting from the system. At a point in time...
Oh, so because they are benefiting,
yes,
that is why they are not speaking.
Yes, the only thing the governors, especially from the part of marginalization, will even tell you, is to always clamor for more percentage of derivation. They won't talk about the major issues, the source of the issues. Now, if we correct the problem from the source, other things will fall into place. That is my own opinion. At the time, I was even tired of the whole thing, personally, called Nigeria. Like, let Oduduwa go, let everybody go, let everybody, do their thing themselves. But we must also think about the minorities in different places. Where do they fall into? Then togetherness, then as big as we have a lot of advantage. Look at the countries doing well today, the Indians of this world, the Chinese, then China. You see that they are leveraging on that population they have and doing very well. So even United States of over 350 million people, they are leveraging on that. That's why they are superpower. Not that UK cannot do the same thing they're doing, but they don't have that population. So when you have the structure, you have the population, you have good leadership, things will fall into place. This government must be questioned and be made to do what they ought to do, because they are failing in some very key aspects.